It's late August, the garden's changing, and it's time for another garden update. We're in late August, so there are some plants that are starting to look a little worn out, like these long beans. So I've been removing a few of these plants and saving some seeds. In late summer, it's not unusual for some plants to not produce as well. So in early July, I planted some long beans in this cage, and they're just now starting to produce. And as you can see, they're loaded with beans. So by planning ahead a little bit, I'll be harvesting beans until frost, more than likely. And these plants are just now starting to reach their prime and are about 7.5 to 8 feet tall. At the same time I planted the long beans, I also planted a couple of cucumber plants in the same cage. So my older cucumber plants came out not long ago, and these will start producing cucumbers very soon. On the other side of the same cage, I planted some red noodle beans, and those are also starting to produce beans now. These are behind the long beans on the other side of the cage, but not by much. From now until frost, we'll be harvesting a whole lot of peppers. And I recently harvested these New Mex Big Jim chili peppers, and I really like these a lot. This is a 10-inch plate, and as you can see, they almost cover the plate. And here's what a few of them look like in my hand. The Oda and the Jimmy Nardello sweet peppers have both been producing very well, and this is a look at some that I picked one morning. On this morning I picked quite a few different peppers, and I just posted a video Thursday about it, and if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down below. The Hot Pops ornamental peppers are starting to change from purple to orange, and the conga peppers just below those are starting to get some really nice fall colors along with the midnight fire. I planted some ornamental peppers in one of the grow bags, and these are called New Mex Easter. And just behind those are a variety called Explosive Ember, and they start purple, then change to shades of pink, orange, and red. The jigsaw pepper that I have in the container is doing very well, and it's just now starting to get some color on the peppers, which really enhances the beauty of the variegated foliage. This Puma pepper is getting huge, and it has some really interesting looking foliage, and the peppers are just now starting to set on pretty well. The Apocalypse Scorpion pepper is about a month behind where I would expect it to be, but it's still producing some wicked looking peppers. The Death Spiral is also a little behind, but it has some peppers on it too, and it won't be long before we see some ripe ones. The Lesia peppers are a meaty, heavy pepper, and I didn't realize how heavy until one of the branches broke off, and then I could actually feel the weight of the pepper. So I'm going to have to enjoy these green. Here's a quick look at some of our F3 Oda hybrids in the sunshine. Those have been producing very well. Another pepper that has a lot of weight to it is the Mega Gold. And these two caused this limb to sag until one of them touched the ground, and I'm probably lucky that it did, or it probably would have broke. We're still getting tomatoes. This is our Tasmanian Chocolate, and it's been a very productive tomato. Recently, when I was pruning the plant, trying to prolong its life so I could get some of these tomatoes to ripen, I counted what was on the plant, and at the time there were over 40 tomatoes. That included all the small ones that sat on at the top. And since there were so many tomatoes on the plant, I went ahead and topped it so it wouldn't produce any more. The two plants that we still have going are the Tasmanian Chocolate and Boronia. Here's a look at some I harvested the other day, and since I harvested these, I picked probably 7 or 8 more. We have one more of the Mountain Sweet Yellow watermelons to harvest, and then I'll be pulling those vines. The chrysanthemum melons have been the most productive melons that I've ever grown, and we probably got about 30 or so off of the 2 vines that we had. I even put an overripe melon in a suet cage and fed the butterflies with it. And I posted a video about how I did that. If you want to check that out, it's on my other channel, but I'll put a link down below. I'm not sure exactly when I'll do it, but in the next few weeks I'll be harvesting sweet potatoes. And the 2 straw bales that I planted sweet potatoes in are no longer viewable. They're buried in sweet potato vines. I also have sweet potatoes planted around the edge of the garden and around our storm shelter. Here's a look at what the Musa Velotina bananas look like. They're pink in color, as you can see, and they don't get all that big. And when they ripen, they are edible, but they're full of seeds, which makes it maybe not worth the effort. But I'm probably going to give them a try if they ripen. We have a total of 3 of those that have flowered. The Musa Bastiu, which is the very tall one, is doing very well, and some of those new leaves look really nice before the wind gets them. The dwarf Orinoco is also doing very well. The zinnias are still flowering, and I've seen the hummingbirds go to them a few times. Right now I'm trying to decide just which ones I want to save seeds from. The Brazilian starfish pepper is about 6 feet tall now, which makes it the tallest pepper I've ever grown. And the Sugar Rush peach is almost 5 feet tall now. I'm still removing some flowers, and we just have a couple left, and those go as soon as they get mostly picked over by the birds after I save a few seeds. The Mexican sunflower that's behind the Malabar spinach is getting ridiculously tall and is about 8 feet tall now already. The monarchs will be migrating through over the next couple of weeks, and they will utilize this plant heavily. Without the corn to block our view now, we can see back by the fence, and I have some ubi purple yam and some python snake beans climbing. Those python snake beans take up a lot of room. Last year I raised a bunch of black swallowtail butterflies indoors, but this year I'm raising them outdoors, and I have about a couple of dozen that are in the chrysalis stage. The eggplants have slowed down quite a bit, but we're still getting plenty enough for us. I whittled the F2 black pearl hybrids down to 2 plants. Here's a look at the first one, and here's a look at the second one. The second one has darker foliage, but it doesn't produce nearly as many peppers. The peanuts are looking pretty good above ground, but it's hard to tell what's going on under the surface. It won't be too much longer and we'll be able to find out. Has anyone else had a bad grasshopper year? We've had a lot of them this year. And as you can see, they can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. Be sure to tell us how your garden's doing, and if you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.